Hello, in this lesson we'll be solving literal equations. Now I will say that a literal equation is simply an equation with more than one variable, and instead of solving for a number, we simply solve for a variable, and the steps are exactly the same as solving a regular equation. So our goal here is to isolate the variable we want using inverse operations. With that, let's go ahead and get started. Here we have the area of a rectangle. We're given A equals LW, and the goal is to solve for W. So I want W by itself. Right now, W is multiplied by L, as you can see here. So to undo multiplication, we divide both sides by L. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll rewrite the equation. That is A equals LW. So let's go ahead and divide by L on both sides to isolate that W. And you see here that the L's cancel out. And so we are left with W equals A over L. And that is the final answer. Okay, so with that, we're going to move on to example 2. And so this is circumference of a circle. We're given C equals 2 times pi times r. So everything on the right, if you notice here, is multiplied. And so we can divide both sides by 2r. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll rewrite the equation. C equals 2 times pi times r, and we're going to divide by 2r on both sides, on the right and on the left. So as you can see here, the 2's cancel out, the r's cancel out as well, and so we are left with pi. So pi equals c over 2r, and that's the final answer. All right. So even though pi is usually a constant, algebraically we can still isolate it. Okay, so I just wanted you to know that because there's a lot of confusion with that. So let's move on to example 3. So we have Fahrenheit to Celsius. So first of all, we're going to undo the fraction. So we have this fraction of 5/9. We'll undo it by multiplying both sides by its reciprocal, 9/5. Then we can undo subtraction by adding 32. So let's go ahead and rewrite the equation. We have C, and let's turn that to black. So we have C equals 5/9 times the quantity F minus 32. Okay, and we're going to multiply by its reciprocal. 5/9 by its reciprocal of 9/5. All right, and that's on the right and on the left. Okay, yeah, so you can see here that it cancels out on the right. 9/5 times 5/9 is simply 1. And so now let's bring everything else down. So we have 9/5 times C equals, and we can leave the parentheses off at this point, F minus 32. But notice we still have this F. So remember I said that we need to also undo subtraction by adding 32. Well, that's where we're doing this. So we're adding 32 to the right and to the left. All right, and so the 32's cancel out on the right, And so we are left with F equals 9/5 C. Oops, that should be 9/5 C plus 32. Yeah, that is the final answer. Okay, so always undo operations in reverse order, okay? And then let's go ahead and move on to example number 4. Perimeter of a rectangle. We're given P equals 2L plus 2W. We have to solve for L. So first we're going to subtract 2W from both sides, then divide by 2. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll rewrite the equation first. P equals 2L plus 2W. Okay, so now let's go ahead and subtract 2W from both sides, from the right and from the left. Okay, and we see here that the 2W's cancel out, and we are left with 2L equals P minus 2W. So again, we have to solve for L, and we can go ahead and divide by 2. So divide by 2 on the left and on the right. Okay, so we notice that the 2's cancel out, and we're left with L equals P minus 2W over 2, or you can write it as L equals P over 2 minus W. All right, so either or is correct. Final answer. All right, and so I want you to always remember that literal equations do show up constantly in science, geometry, and formulas. And if you can solve a linear equation, you can solve a literal equation. The only difference is what you're isolating. So with that, keep practicing and stay tuned for more calm, clear math lessons right here on Math by TV.